Yes, that's right. You read the title of this video correctly. Scott Morrison is waging war on Elon Musk's ideology. Well, that's not what this video is about, but hey, Teslas are involved. You want one of those, don't you? I don't. I want a Lamborghini, because is there anything more c***y on earth than walking out of one of those dressed in pure white? Excuse me, how do I get payments? I'll give you a Da Vinci painting if you tell me. But I understand, most people can settle for the second most dickheady car on earth. So tell everyone you know this: electric cars will be $9,000 cheaper under Labor. Conditions apply. You tell them. You tell everyone you know who vapes. Anthony Albanese is eco-conscious Oprah screaming at the debate audience, "You get a car, and you get a car." While Scott Morrison is the main character in GTA. He is stealing your electric car. Want to know why? No, but too lazy to click off anyway? Yep, that's how the algorithm works. I'll take it. Gotta say, Baldies are really repping hard this debate. Hitman the game gave you all a bad rap. You were slightly redeemed in the movie, I'll give you that. Chrome Domes have asked all the good questions in the debate. Of course, this particular Chrome Dome asked about electric vehicles. How much of that man's portfolio do you think is Bitcoin? I bet his pie chart is just a pie with the Bitcoin logo baked into the pastry. He asks,
I'd like to know a little bit about what your policies are around the electric batteries space, or for an investment perspective, and also how you're going to help Australians get into electric vehicles.
You can tell he's a legend, can't you? International gesture of a very nice man, finishing a question with, over to you. Albo had a great answer, you can check it out if you want, but I want to focus on the international gesture of an absolute cunt, starting your answer with taking credit for something you didn't do. Over to you, Mr. Morrison.
It was just over 12 months ago, Vladimir, that I was in Newcastle and we broke ground on a battery manufacturer right here in Australia. So they are being made here, and they're going to be made here more and more.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You had nothing to do with it, Scott. You were just there. Look, it's a private company. He went to a private company media launch so he could say at some point in the future, yeah, I'm basically the dog in Henny Penny. I didn't make the batteries, didn't fund the battery, but can I have some of that credit anyway, mate? That is a policy. He had as much to do with that factory opening as the microphone in front of him. That was also present. He wasn't even there to talk about batteries at the launch of a battery company site. Force of habit, he just started talking about battery mining. He talked about how sick the mining industry is, but being the ever-resourceful weasel he is, he knew he could use the photo op for this exact moment to say, yeah, I like batteries, camera doesn't lie. That's how he starts his debate answer about renewable technology. With PR spin, he thought about a year in advance for exactly that moment, bam, straight off the bat. Followed up with,
we're investing $22 billion between now and 2030 on ensuring that we're developing the clean energy technology, which includes batteries, that will enable us to transition our economy, and not just ours, by the way, but the economies in our region as well, to ensure that they can get access to this technology.
That $22 billion is 35% lower than what the government is currently spending, so the best he can offer to assure you that he's taking the green tech revolution seriously is to cite spending that was locked in by Labor, not him, Labor, that he tried to abolish numerous times but couldn't, but was successful in cutting the funding by more than a third. That's his most green policy that he can brag about to the nation, something that BP is doing more successfully than Scott Morrison. He then finishes his answer by activating some random word generator in his brain where he starts talking about the need for having a plan for mining and the quad for some reason. Listen to this. Can you make sense of this?
Now, Anthony is right about critical minerals and rare earths. These rare earths and critical minerals, particularly coming out of Western Australia, they are a major opportunity for Australia. And back in 2019, when I went to the White House, I said to the President, this is what we need to do together. Critical minerals and rare earths we can mine in Australia, but we need to make sure that the take-off agreements that need to be in place to justify the investment in the first place can be achieved. And so we work with Japan, and we're working with India. That's called the Quad, Japan, India, and the United States and Australia. We've come together as leaders, and critical minerals and rare earths development in Australia, which will give us many opportunities, but also the processing of those. A great Australian company, Lynas, is a company that's doing this right now. There's also another Australian company in Western Australia we've just committed over $1 billion to make sure that they can get those processing and resources development activities in place right now. So we have that plan to achieve that. And I think Australia can be an energy powerhouse, continue it in the future. We have been up until now, but as we move over the next 20 or so years, and particularly over the next 10, we're going to position Australia well to do that again.
Okay, that was barely English. Let's just do a recap of what Scott Morrison's 3-point plan is. You ready? Number 1, I once saw where batteries will be produced one day. True story. Did I mention I was there? 2, you know how the guy next to me is the only reason we have any renewable policy in this country? I tried to scrap it. Couldn't, so I just cut the funding so it's useless instead. How good? 3, Chicken Quad Ivan, the terrible snake shit Dave Hughes, Jesus Christ superstar. Oh, I'm doing it, Brian! I'm talking in tongues! This is the same man who spent the entire last election cycle saying Bill Shorten was going to mandate you having an electric car, which, oh no, he's like the host of Price is Right, but he's not letting you choose the mystery box. What a PM. As usual, complete lie. Even the mainstream press railed him about it, which I think boiled down to, but I want an electric car. And now, years later, such an amazing, amorphous, zero-shade liar that Scott Morrison is, here he is touting how awesome electric cars are. When asked, you think everyone has a 3-second memory, Scott?
I don't think their policy was a good policy. I still don't think it was a good policy.
This is after waving a shitter version of Labor's policy in his hand, mind you, but proceed, Scott.
Labor wants to tell everybody what to do. They love telling people what to do, what cars to drive.
It's like a 5-year-old from a Liberal voting family explaining the Labor Party in a thing that scares me most speech for school. You can read Labor's policy. It wasn't, my name is Bill Shorten and I'm very bossy. Do this, do that. Oh, who does he think he is, Dictator Dad? Alright, apart from that being such a warped lie, it's not even worth discussing, but we will anyway, because whatever. The public believes Scott Morrison's unbelievable lie that Bill Shorten was going to force you to give up your piece of shit Commodore for a better car, and they voted against it. Guess that explains why after 4 major disasters, COVID, fire, floods, Engadine, we're now looking at a hung parliament. I think the public likes being treated like shit. Let's just go through Labor's policy very quickly. It's mad as always. Everything Anthony Albanese does is mad. Labor's policy on EVs is to have a target. That doesn't mean they're going to be putting a wind turbine on your Hilux. Oh man, I can't even go to the mall car park now. Thanks, Bill! It means what they're aiming for, not mandating. Aiming for was 50% EVs by 2030. That was last time. This time it's nearly 90%. And the way they'll get there is not by taxing you for daring to have a petrol-guzzling car like Scott Morrison is still trying to say, now in front of the ever-present eyes of Nat from Sunrise, the improved version of Lee Sales, and yes, I am saying that seriously, but also by lowering taxes on electric cars by making them, again, $9,000 cheaper. In fact, it's more for a Tesla. They'll be like $12,000 cheaper under Labor. There you go. That should get you hard, everyone who has an app idea. They're going to set up community charging stations for people who don't have garages, or as Mo calls them,
a car hole.
Basically, the most important parts of what the Electric Vehicle Council says to reach a target of nearly 90% will be achieved by a Labor government, while the Liberals' plan is, don't really care if people switch over, to be honest, but I guess we'll build some more charging stations and hope the gloss of this pamphlet blinds you so you can't read what's actually inside. Oh, well, thank you as always, Liberals, for adopting a much worse version of Labor's policy years late and pretending it's not. I like that every 3 years Australia could be having a nice turkey roast, and yet they settle for that brick of Ingham's turkey breast the POV families get. I especially like the addition of half of Tim Wilson's head on screen. It always helps to be reminded of that man's existence. But hey, just can I ask you this? How, by cutting taxes and building battery stations, is Labor forcing anyone to do anything? How is cutting your taxes, Liberal voters, something you hate? You're Liberal voters. You're supposed to hate tax, you idiots. I'm telling you, you people don't know what you want. But I know what I want from you. To come see my Perth and Fremantle shows, coming live, tickets available in the comments. In fact, I'm going everywhere. So just keep checking obsessively, and when I come to your town, give me money, please. Now, it's time to control the framing. Last election, Scott Morrison said Bill Shorten wants to take your ute. Well, my mostly male, mostly early 20s audience, Scott Morrison doesn't want you to have a Tesla. But how will I feel like an entrepreneur? Also, his line that Labor wants to increase petrol prices, said by Prime Minister where petrol costs $2.20 a litre. Sorry, that's a side note. It's just, I remember a time when it reached $1.50 and I thought I'd never see the day. Well, we'd be begging for those prices now, wouldn't we? You need to spread this message because I'm telling you it's a winner. Scott Morrison doesn't want you to have a Tesla. You also need to spread the message that Scott Morrison's complete self-serving backflip on this issue, which I honestly think is purely because Joe Biden said you have to do something about climate change, and so he said, fine, I'll make it so there's 4 EV car parks in Westfield instead of 3. Progress! You have to point out this is another wasted opportunity, not even for the environment, the economy. Check out my previous video on this, but Labor was maneuvering for us to become the Germany of the Southern Hemisphere, to turn Holden into an electric vehicle powerhouse. And what did the Liberals do? Killed Holden. Ironically, after numerous scare campaigns about how Labor was going to kill Holden. That opportunity is gone now, but still, the amount of money saved by people not having to spend $100 to fill up at the Bowser to go to their job 2 hours away in gridlock, shortening their lives in fumes because Scott Morrison wants to have his dumb face plastered all over papers for another 3 years so we, the public, have more time to figure out, is he grimacing or smiling? Grimacing's the closest emotion I have to smiling. That collective save money every week would be a huge bonus to the economy. Free energy is good for the economy. For sake, Australia, can you treat yourself for once? Get the actual turkey just once. Stop making the same mistake you did with NBN, the mining boom. Hydrogen power is doomed to go the same way, by the way, if the Liberals keep their filthy, coal-ridden hands on it. These were all potentially society-changing, golden age bringing about programs Labor was setting up, and the Liberals destroyed them for the benefit of a few vested interests, and EVs was another one. I honestly don't think we have the infrastructure to do what Labor was planning to do now. Oh well, another golden opportunity lost, but tell the people you know, Labor will make electric vehicles $9,000 cheaper. Conditions apply. Also tell the people, sweet new Friendly Geordies merch range available at friendlygeordies.com. Check out Friendly Geordies The Facts while you're there. All the facts from this video without the dirty jokes so you can share it with your mum. See you next time to talk about extremely specific policies where you won't be able to remember any of the details and then complain to me that you can't convince your co-workers and it's all my fault. Like and subscribe.
Please share and comment below. Comment.